I'm back! Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. It's me, your girl Dinah. I know, it's been a minute, but one of the updates I have for y'all is that I recently took a trip to New York City. And it was my first time going to New York City. I've never been to New York City before. And I went there for a mini conference / retreat for fashion designers of color specifically. And we were hosted by Harlem Fashion Row, which is an organization that helps to empower and give resources to designers of color, and Nike. Nike needs no explanation. We had a lot of speakers come and talk to us who were in different parts of the fashion industry, whether they were designers themselves, business owners, investors, working for the banks, retailers, etc., etc. And we also had some industry stops, which was really fun and exciting. The industry stops that I went to were Nike, of course, as well as Macy's and Louis Vuitton, which Louis Vuitton, oh my gosh, that was something special, but that's another conversation for another day. But I also thought for other people out there, whether you're a designer, whether you're a business owner, an artist, want to go down a creative path in some way and do it on your own terms as an entrepreneur, I thought, I could share a bit of tidbits that I learned from the conference. Now, not gonna lie, when I was sitting during the retreat and during that conference, sometimes I felt like they didn't know who they were talking to. And by that, I mean this. Raise your hand if you make millions of dollars in a year and sell tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pieces to retailers alone. My hand is not raised. I mean, if your hand was raised, you need to be the one making the video. But if your hand wasn't raised, not to fret. I took a lot of these pieces of advice, and I'm gonna go ahead and share five major things that I learned at my conference from retailers, brands, and businesses like Louis Vuitton, Macy's, and Nike. So as you continue to navigate the entrepreneurial space, you'll learn that you're gonna have to be good at explaining what your business is. And that's just not talking about the investors and the retailers and all of that other stuff that I have yet to even touch. But I'm even talking about to consumers, to the people that you're marketing to online to get them to buy the product. And so that's why it's very important to have a clear vision of not only what the brand is, but where you want the brand to go. What every accelerator program or persons or people trying to teach you how to start a business will say is that you need to identify the problem of your target market. Let's use McDonald's as our case study. But McDonald's probably looked at the world and was like, okay, this is our problem. People need to get to work, they need to take care of their kids, they need to do and they don't really have time to sit and cook themselves a meal or sit down at a restaurant and eat. And now your brand is going to be the solution to that problem. So going back to the case of McDonald's, I need to eat somewhere, hurry, in a quick McDonald's fast food restaurant. Now if I'm in a jiffy, I can run to McDonald's, get me something to eat, boom, bada bing, done, got me some in my stomach, it tastes good enough, and that's the end of it. And solution also goes hand in hand with the value. So what is the value of what you're offering? And I think a lot of the time we can get hopped on the how, like, oh my goodness, how am I gonna get that? I have no idea. Same, I have no idea how businesses become $1 million businesses and can start attracting employees. But that's not the particular point that you want to focus on specifically in the beginning. What you want to focus on is where you want to go. You want to focus on the what of your business, what you want it to look like, what you want it to feel like, what is the impact that you want your business to have. No matter how outlandish it seems, having that goal and having that target, having that vision and making it clear, being specific with what those things are going to be is gonna help you at least have an endpoint. Once you figure out what you want the what to look like, you can then begin to draw the roadmap that will help you get to that particular destination. Alrighty, so the next category, I would say, touches upon quite a few different things, and it's really the power and the essence of building a brand, especially building a brand that lasts. In building a brand that lasts, you have to really come to terms with who are you designing for? Who is that target market? Who is that initial client base? You know, when speaking to brands like Macy's and Louis Vuitton, obviously these are bigger, much more established brands who've been around for years that have a more broader clientele base. But one of the things that they definitely made sure to emphasize that is, as a small creator, as someone who's just starting out, it's very important to focus in, to start with a smaller item, and then you can enhance and you can grow and build that product line. Your quality is non-negotiable, and that is both in your service and in your product. So starting out, you know, it's just me, you really want to build your brand awareness. And as a smaller designer, and you know, you're just getting started out, you will have more grace when it comes to maybe needing to make alterations, maybe things not being exactly quality check. But really, if you want to be a brand that's taken seriously, you need to be able to have control in that sort of production. And control is a major term that really helps to continue to solidify your stance and your position in the market. This means control over the product, this means control over the service, and this means control over your image. This image, you know, concept entailing the things that I already stated also encompass your marketing strategy. And so marketing strategies come with, you know, what is the quality of your photos, what even is your brand aesthetic, you know, down from your logo to how you have your social media represented, to how you have your website represented. You know, what is the story that your brand is trying to tell? What is the world that you want consumers to step into? And really, you know, being authentic in what you want that vision and that brand to represent and look like, but also making sure that the quality is there. That's why it's really good to have all of these different facets together so that overall the brand image can stay intact. And another very important thing is also knowing that you are the leader of your brand. And depending on the stance that you want to take, you know, you can be, you know, a leader in this space by doing things differently, by being authentic in the values that you have and the things that you stand for. I feel, especially in this day and age of social media, you'll have these, you know, trendy clothings pop up, or you'll think that you'll have to perform in a certain way, do these specific trends to gain a following, to be, you know, to get that virality. But I think that I've learned taking that slow, less beaten path of continuing to be authentic and continuing to be unique and being leaders in the industry, the success they have be more long-term and surpass the internet. Something else that really struck out to me was this idea of your brand not just being a place to sell clothes or to sell insert product, but also being embedded in the culture. So I look at brands like Brandon Blackwood and Telfar and how you can completely recognize it, and these have now almost become cultural artifacts of the world that we live in. Also, it's very important to know about the power of systems and having systems and knowing exactly how the industry is working so that you then can be part of it and make sure that you are staying on point. I remember I was scrolling on one of the social media apps, you know how it is, and I saw fashion designers and fashion businesses and brands had already had their fall collection done. Keep in mind, it was winter 2023, and I'm looking to see that they already have completed their fall collection of 2023. Which is months away. If you know me, I tend to finish designing a collection a week or two before I post it out there. That's not the best way to try and operate the business. Another good systemized base for you to think about is also thinking about how your business makes money. So for example, if you, which most of us probably are, if you're a slow fashion designer, whether you're sewing, crocheting, knitting, name it, right? You are making the product yourself. You probably aren't drop shipping, and you probably aren't at this point where you have a bunch of different designers working for you solely. How does your business make money. And so they did a really good job of dividing it up in percentages in terms of having the mix of having our creative flow and energy when it comes to, designing for fun, but also having products, that we can sell to a wide consumer base, even as slow fashion brands. The quick breakdown is you want to have 70% is your basic. So that's your lowest tier. So let's use the example of Telfar, right? The famous shopping bag, Telfar shopping bags. That is what we would put in the 70% basics tile. This is you getting your foot in the door. No, it's not the cheapest item, but it's the cheapest item they offer, and you're getting a taste of the product, and this is your entryway, gateway. This is where the majority of your sales will be made. This is how you make the bulk of your money. This is how you're most consistent in the bulk and how you make your money, and boom, bada bing, that's the end of it, right? Then we have your next tile, which fills out about 20% of the business, and this is going to be your customs, and this is going to be, more so your high-end pieces. Like, I don't know if you've ever taken a look past the shopping bags. They do offer other products, and they're pretty high ticket for me, okay? They're pretty high ticket. This is going to target a more niche customer base, or it's going to target, maybe you have consumers who are slowly building up their price range. As you grow, they're growing with you. And then the 10% is probably the area where you are making no, if not the least amount of money. And that is, think your runway. That is where you get to invest in a lot of these crazy, outlandish pieces that people aren't going to wear on a regular basis, but it's fun to make. It's where you get your creative spark, your creative energy. It's where you get to make a statement. It's another way to appease that sort of brand awareness. Okay, you need to put yourself out there. And this is very, 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 very scary for someone like me to do. If you don't know me, I am an introverted person. I am a lot more on the shy side. I do get social anxiety. And yes, if you approach me, I will talk to you. Chances are I'm not going to be talking much. And I don't have anything against you. I'm just a socially anxious person. I'm very introverted, and I like to stay in my comfort zone. But operating as an entrepreneur, especially in an industry like the fashion industry, I'm sorry, you have to learn to put yourself out there. And you can learn to do it in ways that are more in your lane. Now, I'm not saying if you're an introvert, you should do all of these things that you don't sit right with you. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you do have to get used to being outside your comfort zone and operating in a place of discomfort. Me flying to New York City, a city I've never been for, being by myself, meeting a bunch of designers that I did not know, interacting with these high companies, that is honestly pretty intimidating. I was operating out of my comfort zone. And so you have to be privy and open to all sorts of opportunities that might come your way. Me going to New York was a very last minute decision. I had to take off work last minute, and it was definitely something that I would not do on a regular basis. But taking that chance of myself was very important for me to learn and gain the connections that I did and to inspire that growth. But there's also the value of getting your name out there via doing things like pop-up shops. Now, I'm sure that y'all have heard of pop-up shops before, and I feel like the emphasis and the importance of pop-up shops is not placed enough. There's a difference between, going to a market where it's you and there are other businesses there. Like, that is great for exposure, but also having pop-up shops where it's solely you, where you plan the event. It's a insert your brand name affair, and people come. And I think, especially if you don't have a physical retail space, or if you're operating solely online, having pop-ups for you and your brand where people can come and see the product physically, where they can kind of get a little taste test, try it on, see if the sizing fits, because not everyone is comfortable solely shopping online. This is a great way of establishing trust that way. You can't be afraid to make moves, whether big or small. Do things differently. Try something else, and don't hide behind solely being behind your social media platform. Try to get out there in the real world so that you are seen and can continue to further your exposure. Who knows, you might meet someone that can change the trajectory of your business, your life, and your career. Now, I know what you're gonna say, Dinah. I I ain't got money to hire a team. Well, guess what? Neither do I. So don't worry, we're in the same boat. But people isn't just your team. If your team is just you, then invest in you. You invest in yourself by learning more, by educating yourself, by maybe getting that appliance or that tool that will better prove your business. Maybe you finally get a website and stop telling people to DM you on Instagram. If you can't hire someone to make your website, well, learn how to make your website. There are so many resources out there that can make these processes a lot easier for us as we are in the beginning stages of our businesses. But investing isn't just a monetary means. It's also about investing in making connections with people. Going hand in hand with putting yourself out there is really networking and finding a group of people who are trying to get where you're going. A lot of the time we can be very focused on finding people up here to try and pull us up, but don't underestimate the value of the people around you right now. Find other designers that are in your area or on social media operating in similar niches. Speak to each other, because there could be information that y'all could learn from each other that you didn't know, mistakes that you could bypass by just talking to somebody who is in that similar lane. It's also a great way to continue to uplift one another, support one another as you're on this journey that is very difficult because you're operating in a space of unfamiliarity and the unknown. But with that said, it is also great to find mentors, people who operate in similar niches or may even operate in another niche, who have had businesses, sold businesses, have these different experiences, and can teach you a lot and can offer advice. And even more so, know the importance of community. And I'm not just talking about the community of people that you're working with or networking with, but also the community that is the people that are your clientele, that are your followers, that are your supporters. Invest in those people as well, because you don't know who they know. You don't know who they will talk to get your foot in the door. And so many stories in this conference was shared like that, where it was someone who was following them on their Instagram, someone who was a client, someone who was a supporter that said their name, put it out there, and was able to offer better opportunities just because they happened to speak to the right person. Now this one is much more, mantra of believe in yourself. If you can't, you need to believe in order to achieve, yeah. But honestly, it's really important. I think it's honestly the first step that you need. You need to cheer yourself on. You need to lift yourself up in order to have the capability of believing that you are capable of accomplishing the thing that you feel that you were born to do. I think, a lot of the times we can get obsessive over what other people are doing, where other people are at in their career. We can compare ourselves, feel low, feel like we're, not doing enough, feel like we're doing too much. And then oftentimes we start something, having a passion for it, having loved it, and begin to hate it, begin to fall out of love with it, because we've given so much of ourselves and have forgotten why we did something in the first place. And so it's important for us to have a toolbox for self-care and self-love. As an entrepreneur, we do so much, we wear so many hats, but how are we taking care of ourselves at the end of the day so that we can come out of it better than before? Isn't that the whole point? One of the great quotes that one of the speakers said at the conference was, you can do a lot with fear, but you can do nothing with doubt. If the term belief, if the term faith is missing and you're constantly self-sabotaging, you can only move so far. Give yourself permission to be great. Give yourself permission to dream, to have a vision, and to go after it, and to go after it fully, and no matter how unconventional it sounds. So I hope that was helpful. These little tidbits and nuggets that I took, I hope that inspires you. I hope that you learned a little something. I know I did while I was at the conference. If you have any questions, please do comment them below. And know that if you are in a similar position, if you are a small business owner, if you are a fashion designer, if you are, in a startup, if you are first stepping into your career, I don't know what you're doing, but you feel like you have doubts, or you feel scared, or you feel that you're not capable, I hope that you can learn to believe that you are capable, that you deserve to take a chance on yourself, that you are worthy, And regardless of what that journey looks for, regardless of the setbacks that you face, regardless of the milestones you do hit, you will hit milestones. You will have moments of success and happiness. And remember to continue to love what you're doing. If there ever comes a point where you feel yourself falling out of love with this thing, then take a step back. Take a step back. Remember your vision. Be clear on your vision. Be clear on the why. Find mentors and find a community of people that can support you while you're going through those trials and tribulations. And don't stop. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep doing the thing you were born to do, even if it might look different than what you originally thought. Life is like that. So without further ado, it's lunchtime. I'm gonna go get me something to eat. But take care, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. That's all I have to say. Peace.